The music industry has always thrived on rivalries. These feuds not only capture public attention, but also drive artists to new heights.
Hello, Marshall. My name's Colson. You should go back to recovery. I know your ego is hurting just knowing that all of your fans discovered me.
Today, we look at one of the biggest recent rivalries, Drake vs. Kendrick Lamar. Two of the biggest names in hip-hop, each with massive followings and hit songs. But beyond the diss tracks and social media posts, this feud has had big financial implications. How does this latest beef affect their streaming numbers, chart rankings, and overall revenue? The rivalry between Drake and Kendrick started back in 2013. It began when Kendrick called out several rappers, including Drake, in his verse on Big Sean's Control.
And that goes for Jamaica, Big Crit Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mills, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, J Electron, Tyler McMillan. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas.
Over the years, the tension grew through subtle disses in songs, interviews, and social media posts. In March 2024, the feud heated up again when both artists released tracks aimed at each other after the Metro Boomin feature and Kendrick song Like That was released. This sparked a lot of reactions from fans and media, reigniting debates about who is the better rapper, overall artist, and most culturally impactful. To see the impact of this renewed feud, we looked at data from top streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and Amazon Music. We analyzed streams from before the beef started to present day, just 100 plus days after the start of the beef. This gives us the most up-to-date information about the lasting impacts of the relevancy, aftermath, and streaming numbers. Kendrick's track, Euphoria, made a strong debut at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Euphoria garnered 50.7 million US on-demand streams during its peak week of May 2nd to 9th. As of the most recent week, it received 8.2 million US on-demand audio streams. Overall, it's seen an 83% drop in streams since its peak. Since peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, in the most recent week it stood at number 60. These numbers reflect Kendrick's continued relevance and popularity in the music industry, especially during his ongoing feud with Drake. Kendrick, who had only released one other song since his last album in 2022, packed a big punch with his releases during this beef. Arguably the most impactful song of Kendrick's during this time was Not Like Us. It's a high-energy, club-friendly diss track aimed at Drake. Within the first 3 days of its release, Not Like Us saw 21.1 million streams. The song was particularly well received by fans, bolstering Kendrick's position in the feud and significantly contributing to his overall streaming success. The most recent Billboard Hot 100 chart saw the song re-peak at number 1 on the chart 10 weeks after it first dropped. In the most recent week of streaming, it saw 45.5 million US on-demand streams. In its first week of release, it saw 73.7 million streams, so this 38% decrease is not as significant as Euphoria. Despite the decrease in weekly streams, it just saw its peak in radio spins in the US with 19.7 thousand last week. In its first week of streaming, Meet the Grams accumulated 36.3 million US streams. This song played a role in maintaining high streaming numbers for Kendrick during this period, adding to the overall boost in his catalog's performance. From that first week peak to the latest week of streaming, the song is down over 90%. During the peak of the beef, the week of May 2nd to 9th, Kendrick's entire catalog amassed 270.7 million US streams, marking a huge 148% increase from the previous week, thus generating a revenue of roughly $1.08 million in just 7 days. His catalog weekly streams in the most recent week has slowly decreased to 130 million, a drop of about 52%, but this decline is to be expected after one of the biggest viral moments in recent memory. Regardless of the drop since it hit its top, it's still substantially higher than the average weekly streams from prior to the beef of about 66 million. The difference between that and now is roughly $256,000 in weekly revenue just from US streaming alone. Now looking at Drake's numbers since the beef began, his first response was with the track Pushups, released April 19th, 2024. The song debuted at number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and did 30.1 million US on-demand streams in its first week. Despite its strong opening week, it has since dwindled down to just 2.5 million streams in the past week, a massive drop of 92%. It has also since slid out of the Billboard Hot 100 chart, where it had its last week June 8th. After the first week Pushups was out, Drake's entire catalog did a staggering 231 million on-demand US streams that week. What's crazy though is that Drake's catalog averages around 230 million on-demand US streams per week regularly, so this increase from the previous week of 209 million is nothing new. If we go all the way back to November of 2023, when he released the deluxe version of his For All the Dogs album, his catalog received 364 million US streams that week. In fact, 200 million weekly US streams for Drake's catalog has become such the norm that he hadn't gone below it since August 2023. That means 37 straight weeks of revenue of at least $800,000 from US streams alone. That was until this beef started and hit its peak. Since the first week Kendrick dropped Not Like Us, at Drake's 231 million weekly streaming peak, the most recent weekly streams for his catalog has since dropped 36% to 148.7 million weekly. To put that into perspective, Drake's entire catalog hasn't seen US weekly streaming numbers this low since the last week of December 2022 when it reached 139 million. But what may be even crazier is that the last week the catalog saw below 148.7 million weekly streams before that was almost a full year prior in January 2022. That means that the weekly catalog streams have essentially wiped away streams accumulated from albums released in that time, including Her Loss, For All the Dogs, and Honestly Nevermind. That's 59 album tracks, including massive hits like Jimmy Cooks, Rich Flex, and First Person Shooter, and more. On top of that, there's been huge features and non-album singles like Search and Rescue and Travis Scott's Meltdown. An average weekly difference between the beef peak of 231 million streams and today is roughly $330,000 in weekly revenue and continuing to decline. One metric that fans have been dissecting as of recent is Kendrick passing Drake in monthly listeners on Spotify. Kendrick is up to 75.1 million monthly listeners, while Drake is now down to 73.8. Kendrick peaked at 78.8 million on June 3rd, which marked the highest total he's had in his career to date. Drake, on the other hand, peaked at 85.8 million for his career when the release of his most recent album For All the Dogs in October of 2023. His current total is the lowest it's been since October of 2023, almost a full year ago, and it's continuing to decline at roughly 40,000 per day. What if I told you that nowadays you're able to invest in some of the biggest hits from artists like Drake and Kendrick and earn money every time they're played? Historically, only the ultra wealthy could invest in big financial institutions that buy up music catalogs from A-list artists for tens of millions of dollars, but not anymore. With Royalty Exchange, you can buy music catalogs with songs from artists such as Drake, Kendrick, Kanye West, and many more, all in the click of a few buttons on their easy-to-use platform with no hidden fees. The investment minimum is super low, and on top of that, you can even list your catalogs for sale on the platform if you want to sell. There's thousands of songs you can research and choose from with information about the artist and financial earnings, from Jay-Z, Lana Del Rey to even Justin Bieber. The average ROI on these catalogs is over 10%, and the market is super liquid with the users on the platform placing offers every single day. Signing up is super fast and easy, so if you're serious about earning money from your favorite songs like viral hits from Miley Cyrus to rap classics from Jay-Z and more that generate passive income for life, sign up today with the link below. Now back to the video. Streaming platforms generally pay between $0.003 to $0.005 per stream. For argument's sake, let's calculate the average weekly streams for both artists from the 8 weeks prior to the first track that started it off like that in the most recent 8 weeks. Kendrick's average weekly US on-demand streams in 8 weeks from the week of February 2nd to the week of March 21st was 61.8 million. Drake's, on the other hand, in the same period was 240.1 million. That's a difference of roughly $713,000 in revenue that Drake's catalog was generating per week from US streams alone. Now, in the most recent 8 weeks, Kendrick's catalog has averaged 138 million US streams, while Drake's has averaged 159.3. So despite Drake's catalog dipping in its 8-week average from before the beef started to the most recent 8-week average of 33%, versus Kendrick's catalog rising 123% in the same time, people shouldn't forget that Drake's catalog is still out-earning Kendrick's each week in the US on average. Although the trend is heading in the wrong direction for this, so time will tell when Drake's catalog decline will end. The feud has also boosted other revenue streams. Album sales, merchandise, and concert tickets have all seen an increase in sales. This means more money from digital and physical album sales and higher demand for official merch and concert tickets. However, the intense and personal nature of their diss tracks, which include allegations of abuse, infidelity, and other serious accusations, could have a detrimental impact on their brand partnerships and overall marketability. Brands are often cautious about associating with celebrities who are embroiled in controversy. The negative publicity surrounding the feud can make companies hesitant to collaborate with either artist. As Justin Davis, a music critic, pointed out, if more information comes out about the claims that have been made during this beef, do brands start seeing either one of these artists as a moral liability? This concern is not unfounded, as brands typically seek to avoid any association that could harm their reputation or alienate their customer base. With regards to their concerts, concert ticket sales have surged as well. Both artists have announced additional dates to meet the high demand. VIP packages and special experiences sold out quickly, contributing to higher revenue. At some point, the relevance of the beef will surely fade, and the majority of Kendrick's catalog that's currently being boosted, which are the newest songs, should find some decline. Drake's catalog, on the other hand, is fairly more uncertain. His catalog is a hit-making conglomerate that has lasted decades plus and still revered by millions of fans around the world. Is this just a momentary pause after years of buildup and steady rise? Or is it something bigger, signaling a cultural shift in consumer behavior that will last for years to come? Are fans really picking a side for the future, and their words and actions matching as we are seeing in the present? Or will people go back to Drake's catalog in a few months once everyone slowly forgets about this moment in time? As both artists continue to create, compete, and inspire, their rivalry will likely be remembered as one of the defining moments in music history.